It's me, Matt. I'm here in Vegas, always in Vegas, stuck in Vegas. Want to do a review of one of the books I published. It's one of the first book I published that I wrote myself, and it's about type 2 diabetes. I have type 2 diabetes, and I was inspired to write this book about my own experiences, because so much of what I read about diabetes is some of it's okay, some of it is outrageous, to the point where they claim you can reverse type 2 diabetes. Sometimes they mean you can just get your blood sugar under control. Other times they're just flat out lying, or cures for diabetes. But it's something you have to live with, but you can get it under control, and you could stop the damage that's being done to your body. And that's partly why I wrote the book. I wanted to talk about my own experiences and my efforts to get it under control. And the thing is that it's just getting worse and worse in our country and around the world. It's actually a pandemic now. Hopefully someday people start talking about it more after we get through this corona thing. But yeah, I mean, this was when I first was diagnosed. A1C, for those not familiar, diabetics understand what it is. It's kind of like an average blood sugar, what your blood sugar has been for the last 2 or 3 months. They're able to determine that. And an average person, a typical person without diabetes, it's under 5.7, 5.6 or less. According to the American Diabetic Association, they want you to be under 7, which I still think is high. I mean, but when I was first diagnosed, I was at 11.5. And here's the thing. I don't know how long I was at 11.5. Maybe I was there for 4 or 5 years, because when I was diagnosed, when I finally went to the doctor, I didn't have any insurance for the longest time, and when I was able to see a doctor, I had several things wrong with me. I wanted the doctor to check out. Turns out every problem I had was diabetes, and I was shocked, because how does that happen? How does all these things happen to me? And it's actually diabetes, because that was the big thing to me. Is like, I wasn't overweight. I was slim and trim. You hear all the time on TV and in literature, it's like, oh, you're a diabetic, you need to lose weight. It's like, well, what are you talking about, lose weight? I'm fine. Why would I be a diabetic? But yeah, there are people who are overweight and are not diabetics, and then there are people who are not overweight hardly at all. It's maybe a few pounds or none at all, like me, and they're diabetics. They get the diagnosis, and for that reason, I didn't believe it. I had to do my own experiments with eating certain foods, and it's like, wow, I can't believe it. You eat some high carb. It turns out it was carbohydrates the whole time. That's what I had to put under control. Get under control. I mean, I was given some medication, metformin. In the beginning, it was 500 milligrams twice a day, and I worked on my diet. Years later, I'm up to 500 milligrams 3 times a day. And my A1C, I just went to the doctor, and it was 5.9, which isn't bad. It's almost normal. But all the damage that has been done to me, all those years that I had undiagnosed diabetes, I have eye problems, diabetic retinopathy from the knees down. I have really bad diabetic neuropathy. I was just, even though my blood sugar is under control. This last Saturday night. This is August 10th. This is Tuesday. Saturday night, I was in the emergency room. My fault. I tried to trim my own toenails, and I can't feel my feet, and my vision is getting bad. And so, yeah, I couldn't stop the bleeding. That's all I'll say. I had to be rushed to the emergency room. And hopefully in the next few days I'll be back on my feet a lot better. I can walk now, I'm fine. It's a left foot, it's only one foot, but I don't want to hobble along. It's making fast progress. A couple days I'm going to be out there doing some more videos about Vegas. But I wanted to talk about this book here that I wrote, specifically Type 2 Diabetes, and I subtitled it From Diagnosis to a New Way of Life. And that's what it was, a new way of life. And I talk about in the beginning how I found out about it, and the process I went through, because I didn't believe it at first, and the process I went through to accept it, and then what I had to do to get it under control, and a lot of tips I have, and this is kind of a general book. Towards the last half, it's probably a general book on some tips. I'm working on another book that goes into more detail about my day-to-day issues that I have with diabetes. Not exciting stuff, except for if you're diabetic, it's going to be important to you. I would like to start making a whole series of videos that I'm going to put on my Stuck in Vegas channel. And I thought about getting a new channel just for diabetes, but part of the reason why I'm stuck in Vegas is because of my sickness. I mean, I can't do much anything anymore. You know, except for sit in front of my computer and write. And then I try to get a little walking exercise, but it's not always easy. Yeah, so I might do a series of videos on that. A lot of things that affect me, and I'm going to do a whole video on why I'm stuck in Vegas. But a good chunk of that's going to be the diabetes. But I'd like to do different videos, especially going out and eating places, and what my choices are, and what good choices are for a diabetic, and maybe why I shouldn't be eating something like, you know, I mean, if you're familiar, it's basically a low carbohydrate diet, not necessarily keto, but I'm not going to go into that right now. I'll save that for another video. But I mentioned some stuff here in this book about fast food, the best type of fast food to eat to keep your blood sugar down, because you're not going to live in a cave. You got to get out and about now and then. So I'll be talking about that. But this book has a little bit of everything in it, but it is my story. Okay, and the thing is that diabetes affects people a little bit differently. So everybody's story is a little bit different. Some people have good health care, and they slowly can see, their doctor can see they're developing diabetes. And they may, you know, when they become pre-diabetic, before you become diabetic, you become pre-diabetic if you got good health care. Me, I didn't find out about that. I skipped right over that because I didn't have good health care. And then even sometimes people do have good health care, but they just don't talk to their doctor about some of their symptoms that they might have, or they don't go to their doctor enough unless they're really sick, and then, you know, silent killer, you know, it might be too late, and you're already skipped over the pre-diabetics phase, and you went right into diabetes, and you've already damaged some of your body, and you want to avoid that. And if you're a pre-diabetic, this will tell you what's going to happen to you if you don't get your blood sugar under control. And it'll also give you a lot of the tips I have in here apply to a pre-diabetic just as much as they do somebody who's already got type 2 diabetes. So I would recommend it for that. Also, this book is available in large print, or the first large print book I ever made was for this book here. I'll have a link in the description below, paperback and the large print paperback, along with the Kindle and other places you get the digital book. But if you want the paperback large print, it's here. All my large print books, and I don't have enough of them because I do this because I have low vision. That's what's called low vision. People don't know what that is. It means that you have low vision, and it cannot be corrected very much by glasses. I mean, I have diabetic retinopathy. There are other people who have other conditions that give them low vision. That's what large print books are all about. Sometimes I have to use magnifying glass when I read. I'm usually pretty good with my reading glasses and a large print book. I'm in pretty good shape there. So all of my large print books, they got 18-point font and an Arial font style, which is very plain, dark, and easy to read. It's not fancy, no artistic element to it to make things easier or difficult to read for people with low vision. Normally, Times New Roman with only a 12-point font with most of my books. So I'll have that in the description below. Link to it on Amazon for large print if you want that. Other than that, you know, stay tuned. I'll try to label my videos with type 2 diabetes, so you'll know in parentheses this is what this is about. Because you know, most of my videos are about Vegas, and this is about everything that's happening to people with type 2 diabetes. Is I want to do a lot of videos about that, you know, because it is a big part of my life. And like I said, I was just in an emergency room. You know, I wasn't dying. I felt like I was dying. I couldn't stop the bleeding. Yeah. But yeah, you can, and if you don't get under control, you can die of coma, stroke. You know, your metabolism is just out of control, and you got to be paying attention to what you're eating and checking your blood sugar and talking to your doctor. Anyway, if you're a diabetic, good luck, and always educate yourself as much as you can about diabetes, and find out what, and talk to your doctor as much as you can, because it seems to me that diabetes, in my opinion, is the medical field is still chasing after diabetes. They're not quite up to where we are right now and how bad things are in our country and around the world. So we're always playing catch up. So you need to kind of educate yourself to a large extent so you can keep your diabetes under control and maybe live a longer life, live the life that you would have been able to live without the diabetes, which is what I'm hoping for. Anyway, thanks for listening. I'm out.